I like Japan too, don't get me wrong. Korea's number one.
Korean people, Japanese people.
Honestly, Korean food, Japanese food.
To come into Japanese groups than in Korea.
Pain point in Korea. In Japan, you can.
They're Korean people. It's a little bit, but not as much as.
People are more. This is not happy in Japan.
한국인 ちょっと
Also open-minded and very friendly, but it's slightly different. Yes.
The difference is the people, honestly. In Korea, everybody's really nice. They're like, oh, welcome to Korea. Oh, are you American? They love to help. In Japan, they're a little more standoffish and they'll kind of give you some glances because, you know, they might not be used to you or they're more conservative, like, and be into themselves. Here, everybody's really open. Everybody's super nice. So I really enjoy Korea a lot. It's a little too clean in Japan for me, too. Korea, it reminds me of America. So the culture here, I'm big into K-pop. So I really like the K-pop. They have a lot of anime over there. Anime's okay. They also have music that's great too, but the culture over here is just a little more my style. Makes me feel like I'm in a little America, but also, you know, I feel at home, and that's what's most important to me. And there's a lot of religion here compared to Japan, and that's most important to me is God. I like Japan too, don't get me wrong, but Korea's number one.
This is my second time also in Japan. It's a big difference. You can see that the language, obviously the food, culture. I think most bigger difference is the people. Korean people, comfortable, and Japanese people, traditional people. With the Korean people, you can ask for help and they will help you. And Japanese people also are kind, but it's more like in the role, in their things. I don't know how to explain it, but it's different. It's really different. Yeah.
The people here are more open. Japanese people are very shy in some regard. Like when it comes to speaking English, they engage with you more, like better. And Japanese persons would always cut it a bit short. In general, if you know some Korean culture, they are like really hyped up. So they will engage with you even more. And they're like more likely to adopt you into their culture. Closed up in their friend group. But I think it's everywhere like this. But like considering Japan, I find it harder to come into Japanese groups than in Korean groups. Open or like open-minded, but like like when I came here, I could just talk with somebody or like some were talking with me, and I think like we all know some Korean people, so if you know how to open a soju bottle, they all love you. But like in Japan with Japanese people, it's not like this. They just talk with you, yeah, they know you like sushi or ramen and like, okay, that's it. But like Korean people will press you like even more, what do you know about Korea, what do you like?
We notice a lot of difference between Japan. Japan is a little bit more clean than Korea, but in Korea you can find the basket for the trash. In Japan, no. Another is the food. In Japan is a little bit healthy. It's all fried, but a lot of street food. We love the street food in Korea. So in these 2 weeks in Korea, maybe I put 3 or 4 kilos. We rent a car for this holiday in Korea, and it's really simple to drive. Japan is really difficult because in Europe drive is on left side, in Japan is on the right. So here in Korea it's really simple to drive like in Italy, and roads are really straight without problem, really simple to understand. Another pain point in Korea is the card reader in the restaurants or in the shop, because in Korea you can pay with for example debit card, but only with credit card and physical credit card. In Japan you can pay with phone, European phone.
I use only phone.
In Europe, we only use phone to pay. So for us, it was really difficult in the first days to understand how to do. Because you use Samsung Pay. I have a Samsung too, but my European Samsung here doesn't work. Apple Pay too doesn't work. It was a little bit difficult. A great point, Korea is really cheaper than Japan. We stayed here without spend a lot of money, so we enjoyed it because we tried a lot of things, less price. And another point is the electricity, because in Japan, you can't use our air dryer from Europe. Here, yes. So it was a good point.
First thing I noticed is Korea is much colder, and the people, they're very friendly. That's one of the similarities. Maybe Korean food, honestly, a little bit sweeter. Japanese food, saltier. That's my first impression.
Both are very kind and they like to please people. I would say Japan is more of a reserved kind of country. I mean, obviously it's just like East Asian culture, but I feel like Japan goes like a step further and almost makes it reserved, where it feels like almost like they're stuck. They're very to themselves. They don't like to be with other people. They're very like keep to themselves, very shy, very quiet. I'd say Korean people, it's a little bit, but not as much as Japan. When I interact with Koreans, they're still very respectful, but you can get, I guess, deeper with them, and it's easier to get along with Korean. But obviously, my parents are Korean, so it's Korean culture.
For me, me, the biggest difference, Korean people are more friendly, more open to talk. The food, I think the food in Korea is better because it looks more like Brazil, more meat, Korean barbecue. At night, like more vibrant city, yeah, more energy. I think because of the people. People are more friendly, especially in the airport. The Korean staff help you, ask if you need something. This is not happening in Japan. People are more quiet.
I think all is different. The food is so different. I think the people too. Japan is silencio. O sea, es muy silencioso todo. All the people is, when they walk so fast. And they go for one place and walk. Here, walking and talking is impressionant because in Japan they are walking but they don't talk in public and they don't eat. And here the same, but not at all the places. You can eat. Here are more spicy food and here eat more meat. I think that is different.
I have been to Tokyo and only Seoul. I can say that Tokyo is a bit larger city and also more crowded, but here in Seoul the nightlife is better. Clubbing, maybe you can find in Japan as well, but here the nightlife feels the vibe, everything is way more better. And I like Japanese food better, so yeah, more tasty, and I like ramens a lot. I think Japanese cuisine is like more versatile, I can say. There are a lot more options. In here is better. Yeah, street food, that's what I think.
全部が違うから The food is different, the culture too. 人のなんか尊敬、なんか韓国人ちょっと冷たいと思う。社会でなんかちょっとスペースがある人のカップルでもなんかめっちゃ時間かかる友達作るとか韓国でYou eat very spicy. ジャパンはそんなにない。ちょっとだけ焼肉わかる？バーベキュー。私日本の方が好き。なんか切り方とかもっと時間かかる日本で。韓国のレストランがハサミでキチキチキチキチ全部入れて早すぎ。
I think that Korean food is slightly spicier, maybe more spicy, especially like kimchi, right? But I think Japanese people are a bit more organized, but Korean people are more easygoing, maybe like easier to talk to. In Japan, people are also open-minded and very friendly, but it's slightly different. Yes.
There are a lot of similarities between here and Japan, but I think definitely like little bits of culture, like the food. You guys have like similar, like you guys really like noodles and rice, but then like you made something different, so that's completely different. I think the people, the younger generation is different. Like Japan is a lot more conservative, even in like the newer generation, and here they're definitely getting more free-minded and open. I think it's like clothes you can wear, like just going out and about. Japan kind of expects you, especially as a female, to cover up a little more. Korea also, like there's certain places and times where they want you to cover up, but then they're also less judgy when you wear, like show more skin.
If you compare between these two countries, there is no any significant difference, right? You people looks alike. Both from Japan and Korea, you all are beautiful. Only small difference I can find is Japanese people are more shy and not in Korea. And the second thing is you are laborious, but Japanese people are more laborious. If you work 18 hours in a day, then they are gonna do 20 hours. This is a big difference. Yeah, more hardworking and even more humble. Besides this, I couldn't find any difference. You are helpful, they are also helpful with good manner.
I was surprised about the food because Korean food is very spicy, like almost every food is spicy, and in Japan this is not the case. There is, but more difficult to find. So that was my first impression in Japan.
I think not too much difference in Korea and Japan. 2 times I visit Japan. Their people also is very kind there and helpful. So I think no too much difference in Korea and Japan.